What's going on, everyone? Hope you're doing well. Weekend is almost here. Not quite. We do have a little work to do. But today, Flowers for Algernon is going to be a little bit shorter. That doesn't mean things aren't going to happen. One big reveal. Then I think we're only going to read two progress reports, but one big reveal in the first one and another major shift in the second one. So things are moving quickly. And yeah, some more of that foreshadowing, like maybe there are going to be some maybe this operation isn't going to be exactly successful. All right, so let's get into that, and then we will finish the Joe Rogan, Elon Musk, Neuralink, maybe some other things, Frankenbeans, and definitely some work in class because there are three things due today for this class. Who knows? Maybe other classes. If I can help you with that, let me know. Ooh, I know Mr. Bim has a big one coming up, right, with the comic book. Already helped a couple people with that. So let me know if you need any help on that. Let's see. I would like to share this with you, but I don't have it up. It will be up right now. There it is. All right, let's make sure that it's big enough here. I think so. Maybe make it just a little bit bigger. So this is April 28th. April 28th. Good day. Me personally, this is when I met my wife. So April 28th, 1996. Crazy. All right. Speaking of wife, no, not quite yet, but I'm trying to make this bigger. All right. I don't understand why. I never noticed how beautiful Miss Kinnian really was. Really is. She has brown eyes and feathery brown hair that comes to the top of her neck. She's only 34. I think that from the beginning, I had this feeling that she was an unreachable genius, very, very old. Now, every time I see her, she grows younger and more lovely. We had dinner and a long talk. She said that I was coming along so fast that soon I'd be leaving her behind. I laughed, which is exactly kind of like I think there's so many similarities between this and Neuralink. But if you remember in the Elon Musk interview yesterday, he said that AI, we would just be left behind. Like, best case scenario, we would just be left behind because it would be like us talking to a tree, AI talking to us. It's like, can just process so much more quickly. He didn't go into the worst case scenario, but we have in class. We talked about Ultron, I think, in every class, like that. And they're going to get to it later on with the Bible or the Quran or the Torah. They all have the same origin story. So we'll get to that. Adam, Eve, we'll get to that. It's kind of a big thing. But maybe that's where so much of this theme throughout literature, dating back hundreds, thousands of years, where if you try to mess with nature too much, if you try to play God too much, bad things can happen. All right. So keep an eye on that. But she is already thinking like, Charlie, you're just going to leave me behind. You're not going to need me anymore. It's true, Charlie, you're already a better reader than I am. You can read a whole page at a glance while I can take in only a few lines at a time. And you remember every single thing you read. I'm lucky if I can recall the main thoughts and the general meaning. I don't feel intelligent. There are so many things I don't understand. You got to be a little patient. You're accomplishing in days and weeks what it takes normal people to do in half a lifetime. That's what makes it so amazing. You're like a giant sponge now, soaking things in, facts, figures, general knowledge, and soon you'll be able to connect them too. You'll see how the different branches of learning are related. There are so many levels, Charlie, like steps on a giant ladder that take you up higher and higher to see more and more of the world around you. Okay, now this, be on the lookout for this, okay? I highlighted it. I think it's important. Hopefully it is. I can only see a little bit of that, Charlie, and I won't go much higher than I am now, but you'll keep climbing up and see more and more, and each step will open new worlds that you never knew existed. She frowned. I hope. Just hope to God. What? Oh, look at this. Look at this. We get a little picture. Looks like they, now that looks like love to me. He's pointing up into the sky. Maybe he's saying, oh, dear, you're as beautiful as the sun. And she says, Charlie, oh, I love you. I don't know. That's what I imagine. Maybe that's not what it is, but that's what I imagine. All right, there was a little edit there. I was a little worried. I thought I was on my other channel, but there were no viewers. I'm like, what? It was an unlisted video, so I'm editing these two things together. I think we were just talking about. I was trying to make it like super cringy, make people uncomfortable when we were talking about that picture there. I hope that worked. Now, moving on, back to the reading. So she's a little worried that this might not go exactly well. Never mind, Charles. I think that's the first time we hear him called Charles. Maybe this is his new, because he's becoming so mature so quickly. I just hope I wasn't wrong to advise you to go into this in the first place. I laughed. How could that be? It worked, didn't it? Even Algernon is still smart. Remember all those other animals, though, it didn't work on. This is the first human. We sat there silently for a while, and I knew what she was thinking about as she watched me toying with the chain of my rabbit's foot, my keys. I didn't want to think of that possibility anymore. Then elderly people want to think of death. I knew that this was only the beginning. I knew what she meant about levels because I'd seen some of them already. The thought of leaving her behind made me sad. Wait a second. I mean, he just asked her to dinner, and now he's like, I'm in love with Miss Kinnian. Okay, things are moving quickly. But going back to, it's been said in other classes, I got to give Peyton some credit here, but like he was a child at first, and now he's moving. He's not so innocent. He's more like, a mature person. So these are my words here, but like, when kids, like, they're not interested in falling in love, like a little kindergartner, maybe, I don't know, maybe they have crushes or whatever. But as you get older, then, your thoughts change. So maybe that's him changing. He never thought of his teacher as anything but his teacher, an older woman, a genius. And now, because he's on her level or higher or whatever, when it comes to like IQ. So that would be very sad if he just becomes so smart that he can't even connect with Miss Kinnian anymore. I think that would be sad. All right. Last one here, because progress report 12. I've quit my job with Donegan's plastic box company. He kind of quit, but he sort of fired too. We'll find out. Miss Donegan and Mr. Donegan insisted that it would be better for all concerned if I left. What did I do to make them hate me so? The first I knew of it was when Mr. Donegan showed me the petition. 840 names. Everyone connected with the factory except Fanny Jordan. Scanning the list quickly, I saw that at once that hers was the only missing name. All the rest demanded that I be fired. Joe Carp and Frank Riley wouldn't talk to me about it. No one else would either, except Fanny. She was one of the few people I'd known who had set her mind to something and believed it no matter what the rest of the world proved, said, or did. And Fanny did not believe that I should have been fired. She had been against the petition on principle, and despite the pressure and threats, she had held out. Now, I mean, this is way more, this writing here is more of what you see in books, right? Like, he's definitely becoming a better writer. The punctuation, it's almost perfect. So things are definitely changing with his progress reports too. Which don't mean to say, she remarked, that I don't think there's something mighty strange about you, Charlie. Them changes, I don't know. Used to be a good, dependable, ordinary man. Not too bright, maybe, but honest. Who knows what you done to yourself to get so smart all of a sudden? Like, everybody around here has been saying, Charlie, it's not right. But how can you say that, Fanny? What's wrong with a man becoming intelligent and wanting to acquire knowledge and understanding of the world around him? She stared down at her work, and I turned to leave. Without looking at me, she said, it was evil when Eve listened to the snake and ate from the tree of knowledge. It was evil when she saw that she was naked. If not for that, none of us would ever grow old and sick and die. Once again, now, I have the feeling of shame burning inside me. This intelligence has driven a wedge between me and all the people I once knew and loved. Before, they laughed at me and despised me for my ignorance and dullness. Now they hate me for my knowledge and understanding. What do they want of me? They've driven me out of the factory. Now I'm more alone than ever. All right, so if we just take that one statement, Now I'm more alone than ever. Of course, this operation would not be a success. Like, he's definitely not a happy person. But considering everything else that's going on, I don't know. It's a very complicated subject. There's no right answer. And then this is a public school, so we don't get into religion. I don't want to get into religion as a thing at all, but just as like a historic text that, well, you believe what you want, either people or God wrote it, but it's a pretty common theme throughout. Like, if you had to pick, well, which books are people around the world going to know the most, you would have to say the Bible. That's the Christian text. The Torah, that's the Jewish text. And the Quran, that's the Islamic text, Muslim text. So most people around the world, maybe 20%, 25%, maybe 50%, probably more than that. I think there are about 1 billion Christians and about 1 billion Muslims. So 8 billion people in the world. So most people are going to be familiar somewhat with that story of Adam and Eve. They were innocent. They didn't know what was going on around them. And then Eve was tempted by the snake or the devil, and then she ate it and she gained knowledge. So there's a definite connection between what Charlie did, him having this operation and acquiring more knowledge. So I don't know, there's probably a complete like essay that could be written on comparing those two things. If you ever go into like language arts and in college, you'll be doing those types of things. But this is middle school. We don't have to quite do that. But if anybody has any thoughts on the connection between those two texts, leaving religion out of it, I'd be interested to hear. All right. If not, we will move on to the Elon Musk stuff, and then a little working class, and then a little Frank and Beans, and then a little weekend, unless you have other classes after this.